an experience when I was 7 years old as well, but I didn't leave my body. I was climbing down a cliff here in California. It was a cliff in Point Loma, which is part of San Diego. And it was a high cliff, and it was rather, children do kinds of things that are stupid. I was holding on to ice plant, believing that it would hold me, which is kind of dumb when I think about it now, because the ice plant didn't hold me and it broke, and I had like the cliff was about 3 stories high, comparison to a building. And as I was falling through the air, my whole life flashed before me, and it wasn't a long life. In 7 years you don't experience that much, but significant things flashed through me, and I believed that when I hit the ground that I would be dead. But somehow I felt like something was slowing me down, and that when I did hit the ground, I think I bounced. And then there was these people rushing, evidently from the houses nearby, and nothing had been broken or anything. And so I felt since then that my life has been charmed. That's the way I often describe my life as living a charmed life. When I was 41, I was teaching in Arabia, and had taken a trip from Arabia through Greece and down the east part of Africa to South Africa, where I was to meet some of my mother's friends who were down there. And when I got to South Africa, had an operation, and foolishness again. I went swimming after the operation, and it was a pool that they didn't use chlorine, and I had became quite infected, and didn't realize this until it was on New Year's morning when I woke up and I felt like my heart was beating extremely fast, and that it was going so fast it felt like it was going to burst any minute. And the people I were with called an ambulance, and because it was New Year's morning, the ambulance was very slow getting there, and it just kept going faster and faster. And so I thought, well, this has got to break any minute. And so I just relaxed and prepared myself to die. And I glanced out the window, and I saw like it wasn't the sky opening, but it was a flash of light. And that flash of light, when I looked at it, then all of a sudden the heart stopped beating fast, and it just calmed down, and this total peace came over me. And then that lasted for about 20 minutes, and then the heart gradually started getting faster and faster again, and that time the ambulance came, and I was rushed to the hospital and given antibiotics enough until the infection went away. But and I didn't think too much about it until about 2 days later, and then I realized that light was not this kind of light that you see normally around us through the sun or through electricity. And I just started crying because I felt like I had encountered the light, from the source, and because I have a very strong religious background, then I thought of Paul, and he was going on. And so I thought, well, I had the experience that Paul had, but I didn't see Jesus or hear Jesus or anything like Paul claimed. But and the after effects, I felt like it was a mystical experience for about 2 months where I felt really connected with everything, with trees, with nature, with people. And in South Africa, everybody is separated, or was back then. This was before apartheid ended. And I felt like I could even go into the bathrooms with the colored, and that there shouldn't be any separations between the whites and the coloreds. And I told this to some South Africans, and they said, well, you're really an idealist. This will never happen here in South Africa. But things do change. Before my near-death experience, I had a lot of anger, a really rage. If you're familiar with this woman in New York recently, she's an 85-year-old woman. She had problems with Comcast when she was trying to reach them over the phone, and she got so angry that she went down to Comcast, and she couldn't get any satisfaction there either, and she got so mad that she went back to her house and got a hammer and went back, and evidently she got her, they had to call the police on her, and and they've written out a warrant saying, or not a warrant, but that she's supposed to keep her distance from Comcast. Well, anyway, that's the way I was at the airport in Greece, and I thought, well, this is terrible that I'm this way, because you can get so mad that you can cause your own death with anger. And so gradually after the near-death experience, I tried calling upon the light when you have situations like Comcast and even road rage and stuff like that. But it doesn't leave totally. Sometimes I do really get mad and frustrated, but I'm still working on it. And I'm just so grateful that I'm a part of IONS, because, as I told everybody yesterday, it was about 1978 when I did first hear about the near-death experience, and I really wanted out of that one religion that I was in. And I've been able to make the switch where I now attend a Quaker group, and in Quakerism, you just sit in silence, and you sit in silence for about a half an hour with everyone else, and you feel connected to everyone there, and you can meditate, and it's very peaceful. And in the other religion, it was very always confrontive, where they would get together in these meetings and they would bring up these topics, and then they would just argue them. And I would leave feeling like, what have I gained from this, But now when I leave the Quaker church, I just leave kind of peaceful, like no arguments. And, well, I think that's the way religion should be anyway.